Right, here we have Austin Vanden Plas, 1300 Vanden Plas, automatic. Many of them were automatic, manuals preferred, but I've driven this car around the village several times and it drives like a 20,000 mile Vanden Plas. I couldn't fault it in any way, shape or form. The gearbox is as smooth as silk, changes perfectly. Usual, not quite as good as they maybe should be brakes. We always used to find that the back brakes operated better and earlier than the front brakes on these 11/1300s, but you just get used to it. You know, I'm picking holes now, and I shouldn't do. The car in general is absolutely superb. Beautiful, beautiful car. Lovely leather interior. Tiny little bit of fading here and there, but nothing. You wouldn't do it. There's no point. You know, you can colour it up a little bit if you want, maybe next year or something. But we've collected a car from the son, I gather, of the original purchaser. So that basically that means there's one family from you. The mileage is without question correct because it feels it, it smells it and what have you. We have to keep saying, and we must make a point of making it clear, that we can't guarantee mileage on older vehicles. We just daren't stick our chin out. But we know when they're right and when they're wrong. And I know this is right, there's no question about it. It's just been out. There was a little bit of corrosion, I think, over one arch. Minor things, very, very minor. And dull paint, a couple of odd colours, panels and what have you. Desperate for either a good machine polish and a bottom half job, or in this case, a repaint. Been done professionally, beautifully. The finish is superb. The door shuts are to die for. Look at this, look at this, look how beautiful. Look, factory door shuts, fantastic. Every door shut's the same. Engine bay has been left in its working clothes, which I'll show you, which is fine. Ready really for the next man to throw some love and attention at it, and he will. There's various bits and pieces of touching up wanted. Look, now that's obviously where the master cylinder has spewed out a little bit of brake fluid and it's taken the paint off. That's a normal sort of going on, but a little bit of a touch up here and there. Slam platform could do with like touching in and bits and pieces, a little bit of spidering and such. Look at that, the original key fitted under there in case you lose your main one. The car itself is just fantastic, absolutely lovely. A little bit of touching up and bits and pieces in places. Look, you don't want to paint it all. There's no need to. You can just tidy it up. You know, maybe get yourself a couple of aerosols made up and do it very carefully. The sort of job that the man at home can do quite comfortably, and so much enjoyment and so much satisfaction when he's done that. Chrome and that is excellent. I'll shut that down. Look at that, beautiful. Chrome is excellent. Bit speckly, but it's been a bit speckly since it was 18 months old. Simple as that. The chrome, generally speaking, is beautiful. Lovely, lovely grille. Nothing's been run into the grille with pheasant or anything like that. Look, it's all dead straight. Period wing mirrors. They would be on the purchase invoice if we could find it, but we haven't got it. Wheels have been painted beautifully. Now people do a bodge job of wheels. They think wheels aren't important. Windows and wheels make a car. Simple as that. Clean windows, properly prepared wheels help sell a car without question. These wheels are superb. The rims are lovely. The chrome's superb. Hand-painted coach line, which is exactly as it should be, which looks to me just about exactly the right colour. That's all been put on by hand. The wood veneer inside is fantastic. The whole thing is just so exceptional. Original carpets, overmats in there, which is a good thing. But look at the condition of the wood and the dashboard, no cracks and what have you. And look at this, pure Vanden Plas quality. Look at that, wonderful. And again, make sure you look at the door shuts, very important, very, very important. You guys out there, when you go and look at a car, first thing to do, I'm telling you, open the doors, look at the shuts, look at the door skins and all the rest of it. If they're all full of filler and all the rest of it, you guarantee somewhere else is going to be as well. So just bear that in mind. Boot area, magnificent, absolutely magnificent. New tyres fitted on it, spare painted as well. Perfectly good tyre in there. Bit speckly again on the chrome work, but that's totally normal. That would have been like that. Seriously, no older than 3 years old, it would have been like that. Guarantee you. Now we sold no end of 1100s, 1300s. They were People might find this hard to believe, but they were Britain's best-selling family car for 8 years, which must tell you something about them. And I know it was fashionable to knock them because they rusted for fun. They rusted for England. They just corroded absolutely everywhere. The front of the rear subframe mounts underneath the seat there, they used to go and they'd pop up, and the blooming back seat would go up and down like this. They were bolted to a cross panel in there. Terrible, everywhere. Trumpets, the front trumpets, they all rusted. Everywhere you can think of, these rusted, but this hasn't. Now, Martin, who painted it, had a good look round it while it was on the lift and checked it out and what have you as far as corrosion, and as he said, it's magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. But that tells you why. That tells you it all. Tells you it all. Beautiful, beautiful car in general. Now, what you'll find, if anyone's new to this particular model, you will find that you'll be very impressed, because we used to say in the old days, the 11/1300 range of cars, of which this is the only small car of its time that drove like a big car, and that's mainly down to the idrastic suspension. They just glided along. They just like a magic carpet. Beautiful to drive. We had problems obviously with oil burning, with the A-series engine, we know that. We had problems, gearboxes not too clever, synchros and such like. Automatics were generally frowned upon, they could be a nightmare. But as I said, I drove this, I've driven it now 5 or 6 miles round the village and round and round and round. It changes gear and drives magnificent. Faultless as far as I can see. That it, Joe?
It's good, so overall, really, really good example.
Oh, exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. Absolutely, totally exceptional. I love it to bits. Look at the seam, all lovely and crisp down here, look. They used to rot like a pear around here, really rot bad. And of course you'd fill them up and you'd make them look nice, and then you'd cut that back in again with a bit of 40 grit or a bit of 80 grit or something like that. And you'd put the seam back in. It's false, obviously, but it had to be there, otherwise it was a dead giveaway that it was full of filler. But I mean, look how lovely that is. Perfect, just about as it left the factory. Look at this, beautiful, just about as it left the factory. That's not been cut in with a bit of sandpaper, a bit of production paper. And you know, we used to cut them in with a Stanley blade and a bit of production paper and that, and obviously just put a little bit of sealer down there and such like, make them look as though they hadn't been touched. But that's the thing you've done in them days, I'm afraid. It's, you know, I think any of us are particularly proud of it, but that's exactly what happened. But this, what you see with this is exactly what you get. Magnificent car.